This video will complement other detailed information provided in Floe's written assembly instructions and owner's manual. Each boat lift anchoring system will take approximately 5 minutes to assemble and install, with one person. In order to do this assembly, you will need the following tools. There are a few important notes before you begin the anchoring system assembly and installation. Do not use an impact or cordless drill to install the anchors, or damage and injury may result. Also, when storing your anchoring system, the main tube with the auger must be cleaned thoroughly of any debris, and placed upside down, with the auger pointing upward. And last, ensure the lift is fully installed and leveled in the correct location before installing anchors. Only one anchoring system, which is a total of 2 anchors, is suggested for most Floe boat lifts. However, 2 anchoring systems, for a total of 4 anchors, must be used when installing a MAXIS canopy, and are recommended on freestanding canopies for areas that have wind conditions higher than 30 miles per hour. Consult with your dealer if you need clarification on how many anchors you need for your lift. Are you installing anchors on a freestanding canopy in a high wind area? Does your lift have a MAXIS canopy? If your answer is yes to either of these questions, skip to the next chapter. This chapter is for anchoring all other Floe boat lifts. Before you begin installation, it's important to know the primary direction of the wind where your lift is located so you can install anchors in the correct locations. If wind predominantly comes from either of these 2 angles, install the anchors in these 2 off-center areas. If wind predominantly comes from one of the 2 other angles, install the anchors in these 2 other off-center areas. If wind never blows from an angle but consistently and only blows perpendicular to the lift, either installation variation is acceptable. No matter what direction the wind comes from, be sure that the anchors are not installed parallel to each other, but are instead installed kitty corner, as shown. Anchors are placed in these off-center locations for the following reason. Wind blowing perpendicular to the lift in either variation will drive anchor placement toward the center of the lift. Wind blowing at an angle to the lift will drive anchor placement toward the corner posts. By using off-center placement, the stability of your lift is greatly increased, and will be anchored properly no matter if wind is coming from an angle or perpendicular. If your lift has a MAXIS canopy, or you are placing anchors on a freestanding canopy where winds exceed 30 miles per hour, install 2 sets of anchors in the following locations. In general, for all boat lift sizes, if you live in an area where winds exceed 30 miles per hour at any given time, such as during storms, you should install 2 sets of anchors to be safe. Consult with your dealer if you need clarification on how many anchors you need for your lift. For this animated assembly, we'll show how to install 2 anchors. If you are installing 4 anchors, the assembly and installation of individual anchors is the same. Before assembling the clamps for the anchors, be sure that they are installed at least 7 inches away from the corner post. This will allow clearance between the sand pad on the boat lift and the auger on the anchor. Locate the 2 halves of the clamp. One half has an incorporated female channel, and the other half has a male channel. Place the female half of the clamp onto the side frame beam as shown. Slide the male half into the female half, as shown. Ensure that the 2 halves are joined firmly together and will not separate easily. Locate the anchor guide pocket and spacer tubes, and align them with the milled holes in the clamp, as shown. Insert the 3.5-inch bolts into the holes, and secure with the included nylock nuts, as shown. Larger lifts will use 3 3/4-inch bolts. Tighten and torque to 35 foot-pounds. Locate the auger assembly. Slide the stop collar over the anchor tube, and insert the bolt. Tighten just enough to hold it in place. It will be tightened and torqued later. The stop collar will be the guide for how deep the auger will need to be driven into your lake bed. The placement of the stop collar is found by following the instructions on pages 13 through 17 in your assembly guide. Once you determine the correct placement, tighten and torque the set bolt to 20 foot-pounds. To insert the auger assembly into the pocket, bring the auger assembly toward the lift until it touches the frame beam. The pocket is purposefully designed so the hex shaft portion of the assembly will not slide into the pocket. In this way, the auger assembly will not accidentally slide out of the pocket after installation. Only the auger shaft will slide into the pocket, so the auger assembly needs to be raised until the auger shaft slides into the pocket, as shown. Next, slowly lower the assembly into the pocket until the auger touches the lake bed. If there are obstructions on the lake bed, the bolts on the clamp assembly will have to be loosened, and the entire anchoring system will have to be slid one way or the other in order to find a suitable lake bottom without obstructions. Once the location is finalized, retighten and retorque the bolts on the clamp to 35 foot-pounds. Lastly, drive the anchor assembly into the lake bed using a 1 1/8 inch 6-point socket and a 1/2 inch ratchet until the stop collar reaches the top of the anchor pocket, as shown. Do not use a 12-point socket, as damage may occur to the hex shaft. Also, do not use an impact or cordless drill to drive the anchor, or damage and injury could result. Repeat on other side.